Welcome in. You found the right place. My name is Chris Hayes, and I am at Coach Hayes Hudl, and I'm always wanting to connect the fan to the fundamentals of football. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe and get those notifications from at Coach Hayes Hudl. See you soon. And I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. I am most likely to jingle all the way, so just wanted to let you know that for purposes of your Santa gifts and things of that nature. I am that guy. You would never believe in my family how hard it is to talk about a redneck Christmas, for the fact of how in our we call it a dirty Santa, where I had to fight for a bottle of whiskey. You don't realize the battle I just went through just to get me a nice little Woodford Reserve bottle of whiskey out of that. So I am definitely coming out on the other end pretty good, considering the fight I had to put up for that bottle of whiskey. But I wanted to show you a breakdown of some things I really feel like Gunnar Stockton is good at, and how we need to utilize him in our offense against a very good Notre Dame team coming into the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans on New Year's Day. I'm going to show you a few plays here. I want you to just follow along with me and see what he can do. My biggest issue for Georgia fans is we cannot put all of our eggs in a basket and feel like this is the game that defines Gunnar Stockton's career. We can't do that. If we do that, we set ourselves up for failure. We've got to be in a situation where it's a learning curve experience. Because what I feel like, it's a make or break scenario for 14. He's either going to go in and play well enough for us to win ball games, and we're going to say, you know what, we can win with him. We can do good things with him. We're going to be successful with him. Or he goes out there and doesn't do so well, lays an egg, and we have this sort of misconception that he's just not our QB for the near future. So I really hate for that pressure to be on him, because I don't really think that gives him the opportunity to be as successful as he's going to be, because he's still, regardless of what happens in the playoffs going forward, we've still got an off season, a spring, and of course another season to look at what we can do from him. And like I said, we don't know if he's going to be QB1 next year, but right now he is the best that we've got, and he is someone that I think the team rallies around. I think the team really respects him. I think there is a lot of support in his favor, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I feel kind of comfortable, even though I'm going to let you know I was not the biggest fan of him because of the fact of his release. I love his legs. I love his moxie. I like the fact that he's a stout runner. He's very strong. He's got a very strong arm, but unfortunately, it just takes too long to get it out of his hand sometimes when he finally makes his decisions and his progressions. And that's something that the coaching staff is definitely working on him. I don't think that there's this issue of them trying to do a new install for him, because really up front, the linemen don't have to do anything different. I think if anything, if they're going to put in a smaller package for him, which I'm sure they've already got in there for him, is running QB+1 plays, which really requires more timing with your quarterbacks and your running backs and your speed agility guys, your H's and your Z's that are coming across in jet motion, than it does with the linemen up front. The linemen still block things the same way. It's the players themselves, the skill players, that have to adjust if you're going to start looking at the install of some new plays with Gunnar. But realistically, if we stick to a good RPO game, rollout, things of that nature, I still think that we're going to see some success from Gunnar Stockton's play. But it all comes down to the fact we've got to establish a running game. I really do think that we look at Carson Beck this year is that it's what Carson Beck did and the team that followed with him. Okay. With Gunnar Stockton, I feel like it's more about the team inside and what they do and how they basically show success and progress through a game that helps Gunnar's play out. So I think if you see with Trevor Etienne and you see with Nate Frazier, you see our linemen doing their job up front, establishing a line of scrimmage, and for Gunnar to be able to pull off zones and off different read concepts where he can actually be the primary run person in the play, I think that's going to establish what we need in order for him to have a successful passing game. We do not need to see him go out and throw 30 attempts. He needs to be in the teens, maybe early 20s in attempts, and hopefully have around, a 60 to 70% completion ratio. But realistically, there's never going to be a ball thrown downfield more than 20 yards. It's just scheming plays open, scheming guys open, and let them make the play and turn it into an explosive. So that's just my little 2 cents worth. I do think Gunner has great opportunity coming into the ball game. I'm really excited about what he brings to the team because I think what he does is not just about him as an individual. I think he rallies the whole team around him. And I think you're going to see, if you see your team in of course what Georgia does, pick up their play because Gunner's at quarterback, that's the sign of a good leader. That's the sign of a person that I feel good at my quarterback position and being my QB1, because I'm going to stand behind him as I try to support any kid that's having to go out and perform the way he's about to have to do coming up New Year's Eve in the second round of the playoffs against Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. Are you kidding me? What kid would not want that opportunity? So here goes the tape. I'm going to show you a few things and let you guys have an understanding of what I see successfully Gunner Stockton being able to do. So as you can see here, this is last year against Florida State, and we know what we did to Florida State. We definitely embarrassed them, and Gunner got a lot of reps in this game. And the first thing that I wanted to show you was the ability to run the football. But what changes in this situation more than anything is the fact that he has the ability for every zone play that's run here. Okay. He has the ability to pull off of this. So all of a sudden it changes the mentality of every play where the backside end, if you've got, in this case, Dejon's to the right, what we're looking at here is this stand up that's sitting here because these guys are all stepping down to the left to block zone. We're going to also run split, it looks like, out of this, coming back the other way. All right. And we've got a zone left play. So let's just watch this play out here to impact coming across. Now, you'll notice that we slide off of this. All right. There's design plays off of zone to where if the end squeezes well enough to tackle the running back, that he slips and climbs to the play side backer because these guys are playing the zone oppo to it. In today's heavy zone world, outside, inside zone, split zone, the linebacker that's side of the running back actually will split and work oppo to where the running back's going. Notice this backside linebacker. If I back this up just a tad, you will see here that he is, if I can get it back up just a tad. Let's get this right here. You can see where he is at currently. I mean, he's not even going the same way with the running back right now. Okay, because this linebacker is lined up at the line of scrimmage. He's pulling back off of this. But what we've got here is obviously just Zulu, zone left. So we get the ball right here by Dejon, and he has the ability to pull off of this. So this is a design quarterback pull off of zone where your split back will actually, or split H back, Y, whatever it is, the guy that's off the line of scrimmage, oppo to the F back, will actually slip the end, and he will wrap to a play side guy right here. Okay. And that's actually what you get in this situation is now he's blocking, he's caught in no man's land. And what Gunner's got to learn to do off of this, I understand why he goes the way he goes, is Delp realizes this guy's here. I've got this guy here. I've got to work my butt to the sideline and try to reach him. He's doing a great job of it. And what Gunner's got to do is continue to push that, because as long as he's got leverage here, there's no way he can cut up inside of this. I've always talked about once you do put your foot in the ground to try to accelerate through, but this guy's got leverage, and I understand why he continues to bounce. I think he makes the right decision here to go outside. Now he's got to get north and south, and he's got to take this guy on one-on-one right here, which I think he does a really good job of. I mean, if you think about this, this was a 10-yard play for a first down, and realistically, off a called zone run, all right, he picks up 8 yards. So I can handle that all day long. We certainly need to get Gunner out on the edge. And I'm going to show you here a type of play action that I love for Gunner to do. And this is something that makes me just really feel good about the opportunity that presents itself here. So what you're going to get out of this is you're going to get a clear out by your front guy in the apex. They're going to bring the guy to tight bunch in motion. He becomes your clear out. He becomes your safety valve. You're going to get your drag guy that's going to be coming across on the intermediate. You're going to get your Delp, I think, is going to sit down and kind of whip back inside, and he's going to be your intermediate. And then you're going to have Dejon going straight on the arrow route, all right, here. And what you do, what Gunner's going to get better at right here is he sort of turns around and flails the play action out of this, is he's got to get depth out of this. If he gets depth out of this, he can see what he has here. Because what you're trying to do is put stress on the whole player. If you've got a guy that flies to Dejan, then depth is going to be open behind that, and he can get upfield. Because you can see here they're trying to get a first down because they only need a couple yards for the first down. But honestly, the drag is open here as well. And that's where when you get depth, you would be able to see the drag coming across. But, he tries to run with a football, but because he gets flat, he doesn't get the depth that he needs out of this. He kind of turns and he gets flat. And the minute he gets flat, that changes his eyesight, his eye discipline to this. And that's the reason why you see him kind of panic and immediately try to run with a football, which is still a good thing because when you roll out, you have an option 1, 2, 3. And if none of those are there, you run with a football. If you're pulled up because there's somebody in your face, you throw the football away over the guy that's running the drag coming right there, showing somebody in there in the zone, but you're also outside of the tackle box. So there should not be any issue with intentional grounding on this either. But you'll just notice off of the play as he fakes the action to Dejan. See how flat he is? He's already now looking. He needs to really show the ball, I think, a little bit more, even though I know it looks like Dejan is flying on this. He just needs to gain a little more depth out of this because, Delp is sitting down looking like he's blocking 1001, 1002. The end's getting out. And what he's trying to do is we're trying to work a game with 36. 36 is the one that's going to chase. And if Delp comes open right here, there's a guy right here on him as well. So you got a guy facing him. You've got a guy that's on Dejan. You've got a guy that's on Oscar. And you've got a guy that's heading up you on the apex, but he's wide open. If he's got more depth and he's back here, he sees that, okay? But because he sees the immediate 1-2 punch here not open and somebody in front of his face, he immediately panics. This is something that Gunner's going to have to get better at, and I know he's worked at this because he's had a whole year to develop his eye discipline on this, and I think that's going to be important for him. But still, with his legs and having the ability to run and extend plays, I'll take this all day long for him to get the first down right here because of that. Let's see if we can watch it again. I want to be able to see this here off the drag action. Yeah, there's no doubt. The drag was coming wide open right here. I mean, yeah, he probably catches the ball for a short game, but, that's where I'm saying getting the depth will help him see that going forward. But still, extending plays with a leg, getting the first down, still a good thing. I think this is going to be the biggest battle for us is something that Notre Dame's not going to be as prepared for, and that's being able to throw to our running backs out of the backfield, especially if they're going to play us man. I can sit here and critique Gunner's technique and his foot balance as he's trying to wait for this to progress, but I think he is looking downfield to see what shows. And, he does this little jump pass to Dejan, and Dejan does a heck of a job of catching the football. But, when I look at this, I think to myself, be patient in the pocket, work on settling because now you've got stress coming this way to be able to use your footwork and work yourself open this way with your footwork that you work on every day in individual drills. As you work on that, you pull yourself over into this lane where, of course, this guy now is going to attack you, and now you're not having to do a jump pass to Dejan. You're more in this general area, and all it is a very quick dump off to him. But that's just patience of getting some more depth off of your footwork versus it being something where I think he really wanted to run with a football and he caught his eyesight right here and he makes the dump pass to Dejan. But guys, against Notre Dame, I think our running backs out of the backfield with Cass Jones, Nate Frazier, and Trevor Etienne is going to be critical for our offensive success in the passing game as an extension of the running game for Gunner Stockton and, of course, to exploit Notre Dame's defense as well. I think this is something we'll see a lot of in the game. I can't tell you guys how much this helps the extension of the run game. And I know a lot of people get frustrated in the screen game with Coach Bobo and his play calling on this. But, I just want to show you the varieties that you have out of this. You've got to run the screen game because we run the zone for 2 yards. It's okay to throw a pass out here and gain 2 yards out of it as well, which Dylan Bell gets right here. You're going to get him facing him up. He's going to catch the leopard, and we're going to wheel to him. We're getting zone action away off of this, and this is something that we tried to do later on in the game. I think we actually, when Ladd McConkey caught the ball, because he was a quarterback in high school when I coached him there, and he had the ability. What we were trying to do off that action was to throw it to Cash Jones, who got held, and Ladd ended up keeping it and scoring back over on this side. But this is also so many variations out of this that you can do for fast screen, because eventually if you throw this 2 or 3 times, then all of a sudden you can wheel off of this because everybody's flying down to this. You pump fake this, and you throw the wheel. You can also throw it to the inside receiver who runs basically a slot fade off of it. Let this guy still look like he's coming out here to block. He looks like he's blocking. He slot fades off of it. You pump fake to, say, Dylan Bell or whoever it is out there, and you throw. You can run any kind of what I call a fox play off of this. But what you can also do, if you've got everybody flying to the football over here, whatever it may be, flow is going this way, off this zone action, you have him slipping right down the middle. And this is not something that you want to throw deep unless they're in a split safety look and you really get them moving in that direction and you hit it down the middle. This is a quick pass. You want to hit it about 20 yards right down the middle of the field off of this and be able to run. We just called this F delay down the middle, or F, a lot of different tags you can do with this right here. I called it suicide because of the fact that you were running between the two safeties here. But it was just F suicide is what I called it as a tag. There's a ton of tags you can give this. But again, I know a lot of lines on the board here just to show you a fast screen, but I'm just showing you there are so many different varieties. First off, throw and get it out here, get it out of his hands, get it into a playmaker's hands who can go get hopefully a couple of yards. You have the ability to fox. And you also have, if you look on the backside here, look how wide open as he's running through that lane. If he pump fakes this, all right, you've got that throwback here to the F back as well. But again, a couple of yards here by Dylan Bell, about 2 yards from the line of scrimmage, no different than running zone into the teeth of the defense and getting the same thing. But this is still something that Gunner is going to need to establish in game. And for you that don't like the screen game, there are a little varieties off of this, which I'm anticipating that we will see with Gunner out there. Indiana ran this against Notre Dame to perfection, and I like the play call too out of this. What you're going to get is the double slants, and you're getting a little RPO action off of this to see what the whole player does. But you've got to be able to read pre-snap what you got here. You got zone. All he's trying to do is face him up, and he is a middle hook curl defender. And, the difference in zone or man depends on who you throw the slant to, because if they're in man, you're going to clear this, and you want to try to hit this right here if it's man-to-man. If it's zone where he's sitting in the middle right here, he's obviously going to be running the slant right into the zone player. So the next guy over is what's going to hit. And you say, well, what about these two linebackers sitting here? Well, if you show play action in the backfield that's going to get the back coming across either on zone or duo look, however it is, you should suck these linebackers down inside for the play action. That's the reason why play action is going to be so big for us here. And we'll see what happens off of this. So we look like we're going to get straight arrow route off of this, no play action, which does make both of our linebackers fly, okay, which is nice. That's something that they obviously got in their repertoire, and they decide to push with the arrow route off of this because it looks like the quick flare. But now that clears just like play action does, and you can see how both slants are going open right here. Honestly, because of where he's at, I understand why Gunner throws here, even though realistically we are in zone, because you're going to notice that whole defender after he pops Anthony Evans, his eyes are redirecting now to Rosemy Jack Saint, and the safety's coming downhill. And this is what I'm talking about, his release. He takes a long time to wind up and throw here, and it almost, because of that, it's over this guy, the safety who I worry about right here. But this is Rosemy Jack Saint, man. Oh, my goodness, what a catch. But the safety's almost there because of a long windup. He's got to make that decision quicker, all right? Because I don't know if that's something that gets picked off in the Notre Dame game, possibly a PBU, but he's got to make that decision quicker, knowing versus zone versus man, but still a great catch. We got a 3-step drop game, and this is something where Gunner makes a great throw and Dylan Bell doesn't make the catch here. This is something that I see us doing a lot of, very simplistic type stuff out of this, but this is just what I would just call Ace Ricky with your extra tight end in this situation. Actually, there's not a tight end. You got 3 receivers set with a Y here. So this is just Ace Ricky. And we're going to throw the curl route down here to Dylan Bell. We're going to show the flare concept that we like to do as to pull linebackers. And we throw backside of this a lot where we'll throw the slant or a dig or something coming across. We're trying to pull defenders so we can get the one-on-one on this side. But, here Gunner takes a second to throw it. But, man, he's got a very strong arm, and it is accurate here. I mean, he throws that ball perfectly. The guy is already getting to the receiver. Pass interference, I don't give a shit about that. I think Dylan Bell has got to catch this football. I mean, that ball hits him in the hands. I know he's got guys on him, but you got to have strong hands and catch the football right there. That helps your quarterback out, and you're now looking at 2nd and 2 instead of an incomplete pass at, now 2nd and 10. There's not much to break down here, but this is something that we have got to be successful at if we're going to see success from Gunner Stockton's play, and that's being able to run the football. We talk about Nate Frazier and Trevor Etienne being sort of that 1-2 punch with their quickness and agility and being able to hit the hole. But I'm telling you guys, Roderick Robinson being back and being healthy now is going to be something I think that helps us in the long run from the running game standpoint. And we're getting healthy at the right time. I don't think you realize just how well he was as a bruiser in there running the football. Another simple play design right here that I truly love, bringing Anthony Evans over in motion. You're going to get basically the mandatory outside release. You're going to get the follow by Anthony. You're going to get a drag coming across to clear up underneath this, and you're going to get Pierce Sperling. God love it, he ain't able to play anymore, but he's going to come across and slip the split because we're showing zone action this way. He slips the split, and he's in the flat area. So you have your intermediate that is here coming from the backside. You have your flat, and you have he's basically a clear out guy. Cole Spears a clear out. Anthony Evans, you want to throw in the hole. We have done that very much all year long when we've run this play. And right here, Gunner throws to Pierce coming out. But these are the successes that I'm talking about that we need as an extension of the run game that is very simple, because I want to show you what else do you see as being a success here for Gunner Stockton. You get him outside the tackle box. Now, he has this up. He got a play here because linebacker can't get to that. This should be an easy pitch and catch for them in this situation. But let's just play the if that person's not here scenario, and he's running with 88. 88 turns up the sideline, and he chases, and he's got leverage on this guy. Now you're outside the tackle box, and you've got a runner with a football getting down the sideline as well. That's what makes him, I think, such an advantage for us in the offense because of his ability to do this. But we have got to put plays in the system that allow him to get outside the tackle box a little bit to exploit defenses using his legs. But here in this case, because of the slip and because of the advantage point, your tight end gets out on the split and gets a very big gain, positive gain for the Dogs. This play is short but sweet, but this is what every defense has got to take into accountability on zone. And honestly, I think we would formation them differently. We're in a very tight set right here to try to bring everybody down to hopefully set up a bounce. Because when you've got everybody compacted down, I mean, you got all 22 players on the screen right here, and we're running zone away from our bunch sets. You got trips up top. You got a single receiver down here. What they're looking to do to see if we can set up a bounce. If it doesn't bounce, and we've got to definitely get it blocked and executed. But I want you to watch Gunner Stockton's eyes off the zone concept. His eyes are looking at the backside end. Now, if you think about it, he could be removed by a receiver. He's not there, okay? He would be over the top of, say, a number 2 receiver. So if we're in Deuce's right, all right, which means you got 2 twin receivers up top, corners removed by 1 receiver, safeties removed by the 2nd receiver. Now you're sitting there with an end, and if that end spills down the line of scrimmage to Screaming Demon to tackle our zone back who's getting it here, and he's reading those eyes, and he really pushes to try to tackle, we pull off of this, and you've got him blocked, and you've got him blocked by the 2 receivers that would be out here in Deuces, and now you have the pull off of this. This is an advantage of having Gunner Stockton. Carson Beck could do it, but he was not willing or advantageous to do it. What to me was making him have more success was because he was beginning to pull the ball more. And I think that's something to understand as we move forward is that Gunner is 50-50 every play. There is a good chance that he is willing to pull the football off of that mesh point, which makes the defense have to work so much harder at being disciplined on the backside because that's something they haven't been accustomed to. Now, of course, he hands it off because of where he's at, but still, we've got to have efficient running game from our running backs as well. I love this play for your quarterback when you go empty with the F back out and they're in man. In this case, they're in 2-man. So you've got to remove a linebacker to take care of the F back wherever he's lined up at. and basically all you got is 5-on-4. You got two safeties in the middle of the field. Everybody else is in man. This is an automatic. If it was ever a 5-0 call, or or you have basically man on man with no center in the middle of the field, no Mike sitting in the middle, automatic QB draw. And Gunner sees this too. I hope and pray that Notre Dame runs something like this, because he's got to see this. They're running a little X stunt here. Jared does a good job of taking the X stunt just enough to where I wish he could have sealed him off a little bit more, where you see more of his numbers here for Florida State, because that holds him up as he has to make the cut this way. If he seals him off, if Gunner's smart, Gunner should have sit right off Jared's butt and gone this way, but he makes the cut back to the left because of what he sees. That guy gets a little hands-on and slows him up, but still, this is just a very good athlete in space running the football, and I see good things coming from him in that situation. So if we go empty and they're in man, in this case, 2-man, where you got two safeties in zone, everybody else in man with a 4-man rush. This is good stuff right here by Gunner, being able to realize that and taking off. This is why the run game is so important, because you show play action out of this. We're actually just going to leave him as the tight end to help Max protect and basically get a slide left protection out of this, because your tight end is staying in. He's going to look like he's blocking. He's going to push and look like he's blocking. He's going to end up taking the high. He's going to end up being the low. And because we show good play action concept out of this downhill, turning and acting like we're going to hand off, and then he's able to dump it off to Lawson Lucky. Again, you've got to establish the run game in order to do this. And I think this is something that we can show success to show play action out of this, so that we can have inside the red the ability to make this play and get us a touchdown against Notre Dame as well. I think most people remember this play just because obviously this is a score touchdown to Anthony Evans. And this is just out of ace formation, where you get a high-low, where we're going to get a smash concept. He's just going to sit down on a little intermediate choice option, whether it's out or a simple hitch. He's going to push outside leverage and run the slot fade. And, Gunner puts it on the money to him right here. This is something that, if success in the running game is going well, we've established a dominance with throwing to the backside of the backfield. We've got good play action. All of a sudden, it's 1st and 10. And honestly, I don't care where we throw this on the field. We're inside the red zone right here on the +14. I like what we have in these odds right here. And this is something that I would love to see us throw up to Nitro Tuggle, to Sokovie White, to Anthony Evans, to whoever is that guy, Dominic Lovett. I don't care. I want to see it thrown, because we've got to be able to push them vertically, because if not, we're going to have a very tight box. We have a lot of people compressed down inside that box. We still have to stretch vertically, and I think this is a good, safe throwing, developing scheme for most offenses, pretty much out of any offense that you see, to have the ability to be successful here. And this is just a well-thrown ball to Anthony Evans on the slot fade right here. Couldn't thrown it any better, honestly. Anthony, watch your leg here, buddy.